2 observers on the jet ski, 1 male and 1 female.
And the America's Cup itself, how many races are we looking at? It's still a best of 9?
The America's Cup in proper. Well, one of the things we discussed or highlighted today at the competitive forum meeting is that by July the 1st we have to realise the Challenger Selection Series format and point scoring system. So we put it on notice that we have to develop that for the Louis Vuitton with the competitors, and likewise for the match coming forward. So we haven't decided whether we're having 9 races or 900 races. We have a time that's been allocated or put forward, I think, on the 1st of January for the America's Cup, and we have to talk about it with the teams as part of, our job is communicate with the teams a lot, which we do, and one of the things we said today is that in a short time we will be looking to the teams to put forward their representations to start those meetings to determine those formats.
Because there's been a lot of talk about the races being 45 minutes duration to cope with TV and all that sort of thing. Is that accurate, or the race is likely to be longer than that?
That's probably a good question for you to have at the event authority next week, but I think you'll see the America's Cup races longer than 45 minutes.
Can we just see if there are any questions from the callers? Michelle, Bob, does anyone have a question they'd like to put out to Ian or John Craig? Fish, are you still there? Okay. Doesn't sound like it.
Okay, Ian, at the and I have no question. At the competitors forum meeting this morning, you said that you outlined what was happening with the 45s. Are you able to share with us how many have been built, how many more are going to be picked up, and that whole, is that what you were talking about this morning?
Well, we really outlined the construction delivery schedule of the 45s, what we plan to do with spare parts and various bits and pieces, and transportation for those boats. Everyone's got to go from here. A lot of people are going to different places from here before they turn up in Cascais. So what we really outlined was the delivery schedule for boats 7, 8, 9, 10. And all of those boats will be ready by to leave the factory. The last boat will be leaving the factory around June 12th.
That's boat 10.
Boat 10, and we will have 10 boats at the first event.
Well, that's what I was reading.
How many teams were represented this morning?
13 teams.
How many, sir?
13.
Were any decisions made? I mean, the next time they have to put up more money is that the end of April, or
30th of April.
That remains, that deadline hasn't been shifted?
No, that was it was discussed at length this morning, and we have changed the bonding situations around regarding the 45s and the 72s slightly to separate them, and a number of the protocol changes dealt with that, but it was voted, and I can tell you the vote was 11 in favour to leave that bonded date the same.
Which is April 30 and then June 30th, and the other dates are they?
June is the entry fee.
Yeah, and that's 30, June 30th.
June the 1st.
June the 1st. So the key date now is April 30th.
Well, it's one of many key dates.
So what was the purpose of posting that amendment you did on the 12th of April?
I think the amendment that you're talking about, the regatta notice on the 12th of April regarding the separation of the bonds.
Yeah.
So the purpose of that was we had a request from many of the teams to have them separated. So effectively the bonding for the 72 and the 45s has now been separated into individual years. The other things that we changed this morning were the original protocol envisaged a calendar year series. So we amended the dates in there basically from March to June to take into consideration that our America's Cup series run from July through to June. So there was a couple of corrections of dates in there, same sort of thing. So, you know, to answer your question, what it does mean is that a team can buy a 45 and enter, go through the 45, and if they complete the 45 circuit, they will get their $200,000 bond back. But in the meantime, the bond for the 72s, which is the $800,000 figure, it has to come into play prior to the conclusion of the 45 circuit. So it was just a bit better definition on what that's all about.
So does that mean then that if a team goes into the 45 circuit and for whatever reason doesn't get enough money to keep going with an AC72, they can pull out and effectively get their 45 bond back?
If they complete the 45 circuit, which is well after the 72 bonding is required.
Any questions from our callers? Leighton, did I hear you were having a question?
Yeah, will it be live games on board AC-45?
Sorry, live what on board?
Video feed?
Oh, I think next week we're doing the TV testing, and Stephanie, are there live feeds next week?
We're not going to be showing any of the live feeds.
No, we'll be testing that, those systems next week, but it won't be available live next week.
So coming back to those instruments and the live feeds and everything else, in terms of the TV viewers, are they going to be able to see what the umpires are seeing, or are they only going to see the lines on the water and that's it?
No, we expect that the umpiring will be part of the television, so their decisions, explanations of the decisions, and you know what they're making their judgments on will be public.
So the public will see basically everything that the referees or whatever are saying. Yeah.
That's been our thought process all along, is that we want to simplify the rules and the process of sailing these boats, which is part of the reason we've written specific rules for the America's Cup and match racing and fleet racing of high-speed sailing yachts. So our rule book is a whole lot thinner than, you know, the general sailing ISAF rule book, but also we want to be able to explain these rules on the television, and we want the umpiring to be seen as part of the production of the television, so people can see the race, and if there is a penalty, we'll understand what it's been given for.